the system as something that was something you could race off the blackboard. And something that was intact. I didn't realize that it was something that people had created because living in a situation of scarcity, economic growth, very necessary. And it's so hard. I want you to try and figure out how do you, as theoreticians or as intellectuals or as activists, how do you think about change from a very personal way, in the way that people, like for example in Detroit. In Detroit in the 1970s and 80s, all we could see were vacant lots, abandoned houses, rot, blight. And some African American women, in particular, who lived in the South, saw these vacant lots as places where you could grow food to meet a basic need. And they didn't think basic need only in terms of belly hunger. They thought urban kids grow up without a sense of process, without a sense of time. That takes time for things to happen. And they thought that urban agriculture would be a means for cultural change in young people. Mm-hmm. And that's how why we're here now. That the urban agricultural movement developed out of that reality, out of the needs, very human needs of people. Was not only in Detroit. Detroit is perhaps the most, I hope, stark example. But in Milwaukee, Will Allen, my column, by the way, this week in Michigan Citizen is about Will. Will remembered, he's a professional, he's the first African-American basketball player at the University of Miami. He became a pro. And after he retired, he thought that when he was growing up in rural Maryland, people might have been raggedy-assed, but they had plenty to eat. And so he bought 2.5 acres with greenhouses on them in Milwaukee and started growing food. And that has been the inspiration for all sorts of small businesses, for neighborhoods reviving themselves. In the May issue of Time magazine, this is one of the most 100 important people in the world. The First Lady had him at the White House and usher in her new garden. And that's, I mean, just so Will Allen. I mean, Will Allen to any one of you of it. But he out of the understanding of human needs, belly needs, and cultural needs, he was able to start to think of it.
What Grace is talking about is, look, one of the fundamental aspects of capitalism as a system is what I call the commodification of everything. Okay. You want to turn all activities into activities which are done for a profit in order that there be growth and capital accumulation. Actually, commodification hasn't been all that easy for capitalism. And, you know, up to about 50 years ago, there were lots of things that weren't commodified. Water, by and large, was not commodified. Actually, hospitals weren't commodified. And, well, you jumped. I want to go in between that. Universities weren't commodified, and yes, sex wasn't commodified. Well, certain kinds of sex were commodified. But other kinds were not, and the body wasn't commodified. And what you've seen is this mad rush in the last 30, 50 years to commodify more and more and more and more of these things, right? In order to find a last bit of growth as others dry up. Now, one of the things we can do, even in the short run, is to try to decommodify, right? Not because, I mean, in part to stop this mad thrust to madness, but also to test the alternative possibilities of what will work in a